Hey, everybody. It's Lanissa with LB Solutions, and my homegirl Kate's with me today. We're talking about what's hot, what's not. Kate is our resident physician liaison extraordinaire, and so we're going to be interviewing her. We're going to be riffing back and forth, totally unscripted interview style. But today we're talking about what's hot and what's not in the world of physician liaisons and referral networks. And what's hot today is tailoring your message to your audience. So asking good questions. So a lot of times reps will come in and they'll want to kind of throw the whole book at, their audience and make sure they get every little point in. And maybe it's something that the office is not even interested in. Maybe they don't understand it yet. Maybe it's over their head and they want to ask you one specific question and you completely gloss over that and give them information that they either already know or aren't interested in, and you've missed an opportunity to serve them. So what's hot is knowing your audience and tailoring your message to them. So Kate, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk about that.
Well, in my day, we called that going coast to coast, which is basically you go all the way from A to Z of all the knowledge that you know. And I have to admit, I've been there. Like you come out of training or you have, you've had some shadowing days at your office and you just feel like you have so much knowledge you want to share with your referring network. And we have a tendency to just verbal vomit all of that. And then it turns out that like, oh yeah, well, Dr. Smith isn't actually here today. And I'm just filling in. I'm the billing specialist. And you're like, great. So you don't care anything about what I just told you. So definitely tailor your message. It sounds common sense. It sounds like something everybody would just kind of know to do, but we all can fall victim to that just knowledge vomit and just go A to Z or coast to coast. So yeah, tailor your message. That is super hot.
All right. So what is your top tip for tailoring your message?
Ask a question first.
Oh, that was my top tip. You stole mine.
Well, 2 out of 2 experts agree. Ask a question first.
All right. So the best way to tailor your message is ask good questions and really listen. Okay, that's tip number 2. Yeah. Ask a good question. Tip number 2, listen, and then tailor your message to what your audience really wants and needs to hear. And so what's not hot is the coast to coast message, sharing everything from A to Z. You've got 30 minutes to maybe 5 minutes max with this person, and there's no way they're going to be able to retain every single thing you say. So I have a great story to share. Okay.
Love stories.
So early on in my pharma days, one of my partners wanted to kind of crash a breakfast with me, and her manager shows up. She wanted to look good to her manager. So she crashes a breakfast, her manager shows up. I get asked a question by this doctor, and it was a really good question, really specific, and one that I had the information that I felt like would really help him. And so I was really excited. This was a great conversation, great dialogue. And all of a sudden this manager jumps in, opens up the binder, goes through page to page, the whole thing, doesn't ever answer the doctor's question. Mind you, this is the manager, doesn't ever answer the doctor's question. And I felt so bad. It was so awkward because the doctor and I were having a good conversation, was really trying to help him with his patients. And then he gets this whole spiel that maybe he didn't want, maybe he didn't need, maybe he knew it, maybe he didn't. I mean, kudos to this manager for giving the whole spiel, but it was completely awkward. And I really felt terrible because then I had to go back and say, but to answer your question, but by then I think the doctor's totally tuned out. He's on his way to see patients. We're in the hospital. He's making rounds. So anyway, that is just not hot. So what do you have to say about that, Kate?
I mean, kudos to the manager for having the binder, but just because you have it doesn't mean you need to use it, right?
I am a fan of the visual aid, though. I mean, I always have
love a good visual aid, but
it doesn't mean you have to go through every page.
Exactly. Or don't just feel like you have to get it out right away, right? I think there's a nuance to what you're talking about of sharing the information that you have and bringing value, but not just like throwing it on them, right? So all of the information that was in that binder was probably incredibly helpful and valuable to the office, but it's knowing when to share it and linking what you have to what you're hearing they need, or that doctor had a very specific question, linking what you have to the specific question. And also, if just for purely selfish reasons, if you give away all of your knowledge in the first visit, you don't have a reason to come back. So make sure that you are continuously building on that value that you're bringing to the practice, and don't give it all away in that first call. And you said something earlier, Lanissa, when we were talking offline, if you've got a lot to say, it pairs better with lunch.
Yes. So if you have a lot to say, so there's certain times that it's completely appropriate to go through the whole binder, right? Or that you have, you know, a lot of information you need to share. And I think, Kate, you said it best. When you have a lot to say, it always pairs better with food. So schedule that lunch, schedule that breakfast, schedule that in-service time, schedule that time, be respectful of their time, schedule that time, and bring value in that way. So that's what's hot and what's not in the world of physician liaisons and referral networks today. Until next time.